at the bottom of the Earth, Patagonia, Chile. This is a perfect place to test the ATS's advanced aerodynamics. We've got crosswinds, tailwinds, headwinds.
The all-new Cadillac ATS.
Let's get right to Dan Gilgoff. He is the religion editor for CNN.com. You've been writing about the impact as you go through the exit polls about Catholics, about the evangelicals. Tell me a little bit about what your interpretation is of what you've seen.
Sure. Well, it seems to be such a stark turnaround from where we were this day in 2004, where it seemed to represent this kind of high watermark for Christian right influence in American politics. You had evangelicals and other so-called values voters sweeping George W. Bush into this resounding second-term victory. You had a dozen ballot initiatives, in most cases amending state constitutions to ban same-sex marriage, and really ushering in this entire new era of banning same-sex marriage. And last night, you saw the kind of unraveling of a whole lot of that. You saw, in the face of all of this Catholic Church opposition to the Obama administration, particularly on contraception and religious liberty, you saw Catholics turn out for President Obama. He won Catholics. In some states, like Pennsylvania, he won them even though he lost them in 2008. You saw in 2 states, for the first time, voters embracing same-sex marriage and legalizing same-sex marriage. And then you saw sort of the poster children of the Christian right, including Todd Akin in Missouri and Richard Murdoch in Indiana.
Those were those local races that people nationally were watching, of course, because they became huge national stories.
And they embodied this kind of hard right line on abortion. And sort of the Christian right came to their side when the Republican Party, in Akin's case, abandoned him. You saw both of those candidates defeated last night. And so I think what you saw could be described as a kind of repudiation of the Christian right agenda, which is so far from where we were just a few years ago.
I also wanted to ask you about Florida, the Jewish vote. Obama was not playing to it as well as Mitt Romney was. We don't really have a full settlement in Florida, but how did that play out?
The Jewish vote is so solidly for the Democrats that although he didn't achieve the 78% of the Jewish vote Obama did, like he did in 2008, it didn't present a problem for him. What was really interesting, I think, was looking at the evangelical vote in certain states, including Ohio, including Colorado. You know, there were all of these evangelical leaders who were basically, predicting apocalypse if Obama was to be reelected. And what you saw was rank-and-file evangelicals in states like Ohio and states like Colorado actually turned out for Obama more this time around by slight but significant margins than they did in 2008.
So I hope there's a lesson for media in this, and that is we stop allowing folks like Reverend Franklin Graham to speak for all Christians. It bothers me when we put him on and there's no one opposite him, because look, I'm an evangelical, my wife's an ordained minister, I'm absolute Christian, and the beliefs that I have don't fit on a pamphlet. You can't simply define it based upon the issue of pro-life, the issue of same-sex marriage, and the issue of are you supporting Israel. I think what you're seeing is you're seeing people who are Christians, who are believers in Jesus Christ, who are saying, look, I'm looking at a totality of issues and making decisions based upon my children, education, poverty, all kinds of different things along those lines. And when we continue to, again, put forth folks who only bring one perspective, as opposed to saying, wait a minute, what about the Jim Wallaces of the world, the Freddie Haynes of the world, the Herbert John Caldwell? We need to have more Christian voices beyond the Franklin Graham.
Roland makes an important point about the social gospel. The Bible isn't just Leviticus. And one thing that's extraordinary about this election, and Dan has written about this, is that for the first time, we had 3 of the 4 people on the top ticket not Protestants. And talk about trying to form a more perfect union. That is an extraordinary threshold we crossed that we didn't spend a lot of time talking about, but it is remarkable historically.
Dan Gilgoff, nice to have you. Thank you. Folks can read your piece on CNN.com and the religion editor. Thank you. We appreciate that.